Okay, so we're looking at number and integers, and we're looking, I suppose, at those properties of numbers and kind of different properties or characteristics that numbers have, but also different calculations that we can do with these numbers. And one of the things that we can calculate is multiples of those numbers. So multiples of any number come from us multiplying that number by all of the natural numbers. So that's all your counting numbers. So kind of starting from 1, 2, 3, 4, and so on and so forth. And essentially we're getting like our times tables here nearly. So if I'm getting multiples of 5, I do 5 ones are 5, 5 twos are 10, 5 threes are 15, and so on and so forth. And these are all my multiples. Multiples will always be bigger than the number you're looking at. So if you're starting with multiples, I suppose the first multiple is always the number itself, and then they continue to get bigger. Essentially, you're adding on that number every time to get the next multiple. And with multiples, then what we can calculate is what we call the lowest common multiple. So breaking that down, I suppose, common there meaning that they share it. So if we're looking at 2 or 3 or 4 numbers, they all have this multiple in common. And lowest coming from that idea that since these multiples, these lists that we're doing, could go on infinitely, we could keep going forever and get bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger, we want to see what is the smallest number that they have in common, because they inevitably will have more numbers than just the one in common. Usually numbers will have more than one common multiple, so we just want to know what's the smallest of those, what's the first one that we come across, in many ways because it's an easy calculation to do, and it can be useful for us then in certain situations to know that value. So looking at these questions here, for example, if I'm asked to find the lowest common multiple of 4, 6 and 9, or to list these multiples, we'll start with 4 ones are 4, 4 twos are 8, 4 threes are 12, and so on and so forth. And I'm able to, I suppose, continue my way upwards there, calculating all these multiples, and I could keep going. We'll stop there at 40. Same with 6. 6 ones are 6, 6 twos are 12, 18, 24, 30, 36, 42, and so on and so forth. And the same with 9, 9, 18, 27, 36, 45. If I want the lowest common multiple, I want to look through those numbers and see what multiples do they have in common. So if we only look at, say, 6 and 9, for example, we can see that they actually have 18 in common. But obviously I want to include 4 as well. If I look at 4 and 6, I might say that their lowest common multiple is 12, but obviously 9 doesn't share that. So if I want to find the lowest common multiple of all three numbers, well, the first one that I can see is 36. So 36 is the lowest common multiple. It's the smallest multiple that they all share, that they all have in common. We can do the same, I suppose, in a second example. Let's look at multiples of 8. So 8, 16, 24, 32, 40, 48, 56, 64, 72, 80. We could do 12, 12, 24, 36, 48, 60, 72, 84. And we can even do 18 as well. Same idea, 18, 36, 54, 62. No, sorry, excuse me, I made a mistake there. 54, 72, of course, not 62. 72, 90, 108, and so on and so forth. And again, if I want that lowest common multiple, I want the smallest multiple that they all share, that they all have in common, and in this case, that's going to be 72. So my lowest common multiple there for 8, 12, and 18 is 72. So simply by listing them all out there, I can pick that multiple that is the smallest for them all. And I suppose looking at maybe where we might see that in a more general sense, even outside of just those questions, we might look at some word problems that would require lowest common multiple as well. So this is a common example here. Two bells ring at regular intervals. One rings every 4 minutes, the other every 6 minutes. If they ring at 9 a.m., when will they next ring together? So what we want to look at is one is going every 4 minutes, the other is going every 6 minutes. So we want to know when will those line up again. Essentially, if we go in those two intervals, when will the same amount of time have elapsed? When will they actually cross over? And that actually does come back to our lowest common multiples again. So if I go through a few multiples of 4 and a few multiples of 6, we can actually see there that the first one that comes up in common is 12. So we could say after 12 minutes, they will line up again, or we could say at 9:12. So the idea there that one bell is ringing every 4 minutes, so 9:04, 9:08, 9:12. The other rings at 9:06 and then again at 9:12. So since they both rang together at the start, we just need to find that next common multiple. The next question is similar again. Mr. Smith is teaching guitar every 12 days, piano every 18. He does both today. When will he next do both? Same idea again. We're looking for the lowest common multiple of each of these. We're looking for when do they next coincide. Same with 18, 36, 54, and we can see there straight away that it's 36. So in 36 days' time, he will teach both again. So given that gap that he has between the two, he won't actually teach both on the same day again until another 36 days' time. So we can see there how lowest common multiple could be useful for us in these real world situations as opposed to just kind of this abstract calculation.